it's good to be inside a bus when it's raining. If you've ever been inside a tin roof building or a house, you know, with a metal roof on it, you'll know what I'm talking about, because it's really cool to have the plinking on the roof, and I don't know, I've always thought that was really cool. And some people don't like it, but I could go to sleep in 5 minutes with the rain coming down like it's been coming down for the last few minutes. But anyway, it's pretty cool. Normally I don't do the whole I'm thinking thing, but I'm hoping maybe somebody will see what I'm thinking and maybe make some decisions based on my trial and error, and see the good things that I've done and see the things that they don't like and what I was thinking before, you know, that kind of thing. I think the thought process is important, because the more time and money you spend making some of the mistakes that I've made, and I haven't made a lot, I don't feel like I have. I just put a lot of thought into stuff before I do things. And I wind up sitting around in areas of the bus looking at things. Like my first bus, I set up a little desk. I set up a chair and a desk, and that's what I did. I came in and stared at stuff, and I even my couch was a bench seat out of a minivan, and I put that in there, and that's where I chilled when I wasn't sitting at the desk. But when I chilled, I just sat there and looked around the bus just to see how things would feel if I moved walls and things. And that's what I wound up doing. I actually put up things in the bus that were, when you do it in the house, they call it staging. You bring in really light furniture that looks good, that keeps the house from being empty. And that's what I was doing in the bus. I was staging the bus just to see how it looked and see how everything worked. And you don't really know. The last thing you want to do is build a bunch of walls and construct the whole thing and then realize it's too tight or it's too big or it's too small or something like that. So staging your bus should be something that everybody does, just to make sure that you get the feel of it. And probably the thing that I did before I bought any buses was I went and sat in a bunch of buses. You know, seats all in them. If you just sit in there and get a feel for it, number one, you'll figure out real quick whether you can do a bus or not. I know a lot of people raise the roofs on their buses, and I think it's unnecessary unless you have to for insulation. And I just think, you know, having a roof an inch or 2 or 3 over your head for most people should not be that big of a deal. But some people, apparently it's worth that much effort and money. Anyway, if you're looking at a bus, if you're looking at buses, go sit inside several of them. See which ones fit, and just see if you can just sit in there for a few minutes. The more time you can spend inside the bus, you can use your imagination to see where everything would fit. And, you know, bring a tape measure. Bring a tape measure and see what the things that you have to have, you know, maybe a fridge or maybe a TV or maybe your favorite couch. My first bus, my plan was to take my favorite couch, because I love this couch. It's a big leather couch, and it had another big leather armchair that went with it. And I wanted to take both of them, but really neither one of them were a good fit because they were so big. But golly, they were so nice and comfortable. And well, once I measured everything off, I realized I wasn't going to be able to do it. Physically, getting the dadgum thing in the bus was hard enough, but putting it in one place would be even harder. So, but you know, look at the wheel wells, look at things that are going to get in your way structurally. You know, the low ceilings tend to limit what you can do towards the walls. You know, the closer you get to this, the harder it is to fit things in an upright position. So that might be one of the reasons why people do roof raises, so they can fit big appliances like standard fridges and things like that. But that's my advice. Go sit in a bus as long as you can. As long as you can sit there and just try to get a mental picture of where everything that you have or that you want to take with you or that you want to put in your bus, take mental pictures of where all that stuff will go, and take a tape measure and see, measure the stuff that's in your current living space now. If you're in a house or an apartment, take measurements of the stuff that you have now that that you have to take with you. And of course, if you're in 1,500, 2,000, 5,000 square feet, you're going to have to make some sacrifices, but figure out what you can't do without, and take some measurements, and then see how that's going to fit. My original bus, I thought I was going to put a queen size bed in and do like a Murphy bed, like a bed that folds up onto the wall. Well, of course, a queen size would not go lengthwise up, but I thought maybe if I went to one side of the bus, that I could squeeze by and lift the bed. Well, it wouldn't do that either. So the things you think that will work, a lot of times won't. And a tape measure probably wouldn't help you in that case. You need some kind of a frame that's the size of a queen size bed to realize that you'd have to drop it way down here to fold it up, and then it would only go up like that. So there's a lot of issues that you'll run into along the way if you don't have the ability to stage, the ability to arrange stuff around in your bus before you start building, to make sure everything's going to fit. Tip of the day.